Yo, what's up, guys? C-Jax back with another Raw recap, and this episode of Raw was actually pretty decent overall, in my opinion. Now, there were a couple things, though, that had me really irritated because they made no sense or they were just straight up garbage. However, the majority of the stuff in the content tonight was actually pretty decent. However, this first thing that happened was not, starting off with CM Punk's absolutely corny and nonsensical promo. He pretty much comes out, and honestly at this point, I'm getting tired of the stuff they're doing where it's like CM Punk's there, and then, Drew's not there, and then Drew returns next week, and then I'm sure Punk somehow won't be on the show. It's just getting nonsensical, and at this point, it's dumb. Why in the world are these guys just not showing up just mysteriously the week the other guy's there, they're just not there? It's stupid, doesn't make any sense. Anyways, Punk comes out and cuts a promo basically saying, "Guys, I don't know how many more matches I have left. Isn't it a good day to be in Portland, Oregon? But I don't know how many matches I have left. My family, they told me not to do this Hell in a Cell. My wife told me not to, but I'm gonna do it anyways." And he's like, "I'm prepared to die and go to hell to beat you, Drew McIntyre. I will kill you. You might kill me, but we're gonna battle to the death." And I'm like, this is not believable at all. CM Punk gets injured in nearly every single match he's had the last couple years. He's had what? He broke his foot in AEW, I'm pretty sure. I think he tore his tricep over there as well, and then he tore his right tricep due to a DDT to Drew McIntyre in the Royal Rumble. And I'm supposed to believe that this dude's gonna battle to the death versus a 6'5", like 300-pound monster like Drew McIntyre, who's pretty much the same size as Braun Strowman dang near, but just athletic. And somehow that dude is gonna get beat up by CM Punk, who's fragile, gets hurt every match, is easily out of breath in every single match, and then as long with that, he doesn't wrestle as smoothly or as good as he used to. But I'm supposed to believe that this dude is going to beat up Drew McIntyre in a to the death match in a Hell in a Cell. Of course I don't believe that. It's stupid, and Punk pretty much does this corny cliche where he's like, "Oh, my family doesn't want me to do this match." That's dumb. Nobody said that, and the way he delivered it was just so corny. And it was like, "Oh, this is the final stand. It's the final countdown." Like, no. This is dumb. Nobody fell for this. It wasn't emotional. Nobody cared. And this promo was not good. People are going to call it amazing, but everyone, or, the real ones, know that it wasn't. So that's that. And then Drew McIntyre will be on next week's Raw to address these comments, which I don't know why they can't just be on the same show, but again, this is stupid, so, it is what it is. Then you have Sheamus versus Butch, which again makes no sense, because why is Sheamus ever losing to Pete Dunne? And this match was not even better than their match a couple weeks ago, because there wasn't really many cool spots. Pete Dunne hit him with like a wooden block or something like that, and it's like, what even is this anymore, man? Sheamus should not be losing to this absolute jobber, but I guess they need a match to put him in. But if I were them, I would just do Sheamus and just include him with everything Bronson Reed does and make it awesome. They do great matches and the brawls would be epic, but, instead we're just going to have Sheamus lose to Pete Dunne instead. That's just dumb. But this right here was awesome. Braun Breaker and Jey Uso cut one of the best promo segments of the year on Raw, and it was epic. Jey Uso brings a certain level of intensity and also humor sometimes. Braun Breaker honestly does the same thing, and they basically go out there. Jey Uso's basically saying, yes, because Braun Breaker says, he's like, you needed your family for everything. All of your success in the last 14 years is all built off the success of your dad or Roman Reigns or your family, right? And Braun Breaker's like, "I did this myself." And then Jey Uso's like, "Yeah, I have been here for 14 years, but I'm a dog walk you." You know what I'm saying? Because Braun Breaker's thing is the roof. And Jey Uso's like, "I'm a dog walk you," and he's like, I'm gonna make sure your Intercontinental title reign is like last less time than your NFL career. And I was like, wow. Jey Uso cut deep, man. He said something along those lines, and it was awesome. And then they basically just go back and forth. It was really good. They were intense. It was entertaining. It was engaging. It was gripping. You watch it, you're like, holy crap, this is really good. This is two good workers going to work on the mic, and it was just very entertaining, man. You could tell that they were both into it. They delivered it. They acted well. It was a very entertaining segment. And then after this, Jey Uso spears Braun Breaker in a very cool moment because Braun punched him and stunned him. And then Braun runs off the ropes and gets caught with a spear from Jey. So yeah, man. This was awesome. I absolutely loved this segment. Jey hitting the spear and then holding the title after was also really cool. And everything that happened tonight was honestly pretty good. Like when it comes to the Jey Uso related content. But we're going to get to Jey Uso as well, because there was also another segment where he's backstage with Rhea Ripley and Xavier Woods and Damian Priest. And Xavier Woods is pretty much saying to Damian Priest, "Don't interrupt in this tag match," which is important because I'm going to talk about this in a little bit. But he's basically saying, don't interrupt this tag match. And the whole time this segment's happening, Rhea is just staring at Jey in a flirtatious way, like looking like she's flattered by him. You know, I guess she wants to get yeeted. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, she better get yeeted, you know what I mean? So yeah, Rhea Ripley wants to get yeeted by Jey Uso, and that's pretty much what this segment was, while at the same time, Xavier Woods is trying to get Damian not to interfere so Xavier can have a chance at the Tag Team Championships in a clean match, which obviously doesn't happen, but we'll get to that later. Pretty decent segment. Then you have Natalya versus Zoe Stark. Nobody cares about this, but so I'm not even going to talk about the match, because I don't even remember who won this match, I'm going to be honest. I think Natalya won, but I don't even remember. Anyways, that's not what matters. I'm bringing this up because Zelina Vega and Lyra Valkyria are absolute and utter jobbers, and so are the Pure Fusion Collective, and I recommend that every woman involved with this match should probably leave the WWE outside of Natalya, because I'm sure she's getting a handsome paycheck, because she's been around for like a decade or two, so I'm sure they're going to give her some really, really good money, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're a legend in the industry. If you're not doing good work right now, and you haven't been doing good work for years, I mean, you're kind of just there for a check, which is honestly fine. I'd do the same thing if I was her age, but, you know, at the end of the day, this is because of Zelina and Lyra Valkyria are absolute jobbers, and Zelina Vega is much better than this. She comes out in these little dumb Beats headphones, which she wasn't listening to any music, probably she's just wearing them just cuz, and then Lyra Valkyria comes out, and she's just a jobber. She has jobber written all over her. Triple H has no idea what he wants to do with her. He gave her a shot, but at the same time, under the WWE system, there are just certain people who cannot succeed. It's kind of like Cesaro was an amazing wrestler, but in the WWE system where you actually need to be able to tell a story and do good promos and you're not just there for just good matches every now and then, he couldn't succeed and be at his full potential. And Lyra Valkyria and Zelina are the same thing. Zelina can actually cut promos when capable, and she can wrestle a solid match every now and then. But the fact that this is just what they gave her is just sad. She's a jobber. Then you get to Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston versus the Judgment Day, which this makes no sense, and this is another thing I don't understand. Why in the world, and I'm dead serious about this because this was annoying, why are the refs so stupid? And why is the Xavier Woods eventual heel turn, if it happens, so forced? Kofi Kingston in this match, apparently he set up the LWO to come down and help them because the Judgment Day interfered in the match. Now let me tell you something. If the Judgment Day interfered and there was no one to help, Xavier and Kofi would have lost this match straight up just by referee distraction, because for some reason, the refs are so dumb in tonight's episode that they're always looking outside the ring. It's just stupid. Why are you worried about stuff that's happening outside the ring when you have two dudes wrestling in front of you? For a tag team championship, this is a championship match, and the refs are always focused on other nonsense. It's just dumb. I understand it's wrestling and it's scripted, and, you know, they have to do this for the show part of it, but this is dumb. It's frustrating at this point. These refs just act like absolute and utter idiots just to get a little match point across, a little match moment. This is stupid. It's dumb. So I don't ever want to see these refs again. Whoever the refs were in these matches should be fired. And then afterwards, Xavier's mad with Kofi because he thinks Kofi cost him and he's upset and he's this and he's that. Why are you mad at Kofi Kingston? Why are you mad at Kofi Kingston? Why? Literally, it's not his fault. What did he do wrong here? The Judgment Day comes out with 5 people and Kofi tries to fight back and it's Kofi's fault? Maybe if the Judgment Day didn't interfere, you would have had a clean match and you would have just won straight up. So this whole Xavier anger at Kofi is just forced and it makes no sense. So I'm tired of this storyline. I'm tired of Karrion Kross, and I'm tired of jobbers like Karrion Kross and, you know, the Final Testament. And The Miz, who comes out now, he's not a jobber, but The Miz comes out and, you know, he's in the backstage segment with Braun Strowman, and he's like, oh, you don't think I'm a monster? You don't think I can handle Bronson Reed? What are you talking about, dude? What are you talking about? And I'm like, dude, shut up. Just shut up, man. They're trying to do this thing where, oh, whoever Karrion Kross talks to is just going to turn heel. It's dumb. Nobody cares. Speaking of Braun Strowman, though, him and Bronson Reed had an absolutely amazing segment. Amazing. They go out in the ring. The first part of the match is that Bronson Reed literally rips the turnbuckle off, which was sick. He gets chokeslammed, which was awesome. And then he grabs a fan from the crowd and throws him at Braun Strowman. This would have been very cool if we could actually see the fan that he threw. But instead, the camera is just showing us on the other side of the ring, so we didn't really get to see the full, you know, part of him throwing the fan. At least I didn't on my screen on the USA feed, but, you know, that was that. And then after this happens, they basically fight all the way backstage. This backstage segment was awesome too. You know, before that, Braun Strowman like speared Bronson Reed through a barricade. Then they fight to the backstage. Bronson Reed like does a tsunami, kind of flying tsunami through a table backstage. And then Braun Strowman just absolutely rams Bronson Reed right through a wooden wall, bro. Like, this was epic. It was entertainment. It's entertaining, sorry. They had the camera even like kind of glitched out too, like for the effects. They glitched it out for the effect of the moment. It was really, really good. And this is entertaining, and this is how you book your big monster characters. Braun Strowman actually felt like a monster in this segment because he fought back and was throwing people through barricades and putting people through walls. This is how you book your monsters. Then you have Bronson Reed, who also is fighting back and doing awesome work like he's usually been doing for the last month or two on the main roster, pretty much since he beat up Seth Rollins and hit the 5 or 6 tsunamis on him. Bronson Reed is entertaining. He is epic, and the character persona and the feud they're giving him with Braun Strowman should be at Bad Blood. I don't care what anyone says. I would much rather see Bronson Reed versus Braun Strowman at Bad Blood than Finn Balor and Damian Priest. I don't care what you say, cry about it. Then you get Gunther versus Sami in a promo, and this is pretty much nonsense. Sami's just saying, oh, well, Gunther, I need to be world champion. And then Ludwig comes out, interrupts him, and there's a little moment where they try and like tease Ludwig eventually turning against Gunther because Sami Zayn's like, oh, you're just Gunther's puppet, bro. It's time for you to be your own man and be your own wrestler. And Ludwig like kind of stares down for a second, and then Gunther comes out, cuts it up. And then Ludwig attacks Sami, and Gunther pretty much says, Sami, you're not getting a title shot. Obviously, Sami is eventually going to get a title shot for the World Championship, so I don't know why we're doing all of this. But again, every story has to be dragged out for 15 months, so it is what it is. This is boring, though. And easily, by the way, I just want to mention this, Braun Breaker and his feud with Jey Uso feels way more like a main event feud than Gunther and anyone he's gotten so far as a world champion. Just want to put that out there. And I'm going to say this right now, Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker should be on the Bad Blood match card. This should not be a match that's just done on Raw. Sami versus Gunther can be done on Raw because that feud has been lackluster. But Jey Uso and Braun Breaker had a great backstage segment a couple weeks ago, and now they're having an amazing segment inside of the ring, an amazing promo, plus the spear after, and then Braun Breaker spearing him later on in the Raw. This needs to be on Bad Blood. It is more intriguing than any match that's been announced for this pay-per-view so far, at least to me, than like any match on the pay-per-view so far, besides like maybe 1 or 2 matches, right? Other than that, it's better than every other feud right now, besides what? I guess Punk and Drew, because it's been built up to for 8 months, so you have that. And then obviously Roman and Cody versus the new Bloodline is going to main event. But, this match should at least be on the card. There's no reason it's not, and it's unacceptable if it isn't on the card. They better change this within the next 6 days, which they're probably not going to, but they better, because this feud is awesome. Anyways, we then have Iyo Sky versus Bianca, which, again, was awesome. This is the best women's related segment / match I've seen on Raw or SmackDown in months. Bianca Belair and Iyo Sky are just amazingly talented. They just are. And the first 5 minutes of this match is just strictly dodges and like jumping over each other and all that stuff, and it just works. It just works because it's entertainment. It's entertaining. They sell the moves correctly. Iyo Sky hit a great suicide dive where she kind of like flipped her body midair. Bianca with the backflips, the moonsaults. They had the false finish too, where we thought Iyo Sky was going to get hit with what's it called? What's Bianca Belair's finishing move called, man? Is it called the EST? Or is it called it's called something like that, man. Her finishing move, she was about to hit it on Iyo Sky, and then Iyo Sky counters and does a roll-up and pins her. It was a very, very good match, man, with good spots. The German suplex Iyo hit on Bianca was awesome. It was just a very good match from start to finish. Good moments, good athleticism, good selling, and a nice false finish and good booking near the end, because now you can do Damage Control versus Damage Control versus Bianca and Jade for the Women's Tag Team Championships, and that match is probably going to be very good, and I wouldn't mind seeing that at Bad Blood instead of Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan, okay? Obviously, that's absolutely insane what I just said. It's going to sound insane, but when you really look at it, Bianca's feud with Iyo Sky in the Damage Control has stretched back for like a year or 2 at this point. So for her to have a match with Jade Cargill versus like Damage Control in like a street fight or something at Bad Blood could at least be like a 10-minute match you could throw on the PLE. And I'd much rather be entertained by that than Rhea versus Liv, which is basically just going to be nonsense unless they add a stipulation. Rhea versus Liv is nonsense. I don't want to see that match, really, because if they don't add a stipulation to it, why are we watching this? We know Liv's going to win if there's no stipulation. Even if there is a stipulation, they're probably going to have Liv win this match because they're just going to drag it out until WrestleMania, which is just absolutely annoying and ridiculous, but that's what happens nowadays, right? Then after this, you get the main event of the show, I'm pretty sure, which was Damian versus Dominic Mysterio. I think this was the main event. Am I forgetting any segments? No. Damian versus Dominic Mysterio. This match was boring. I'm going to be honest. It was just boring. And again, just like the Punk and Drew thing, no one believes Punk can actually beat up Drew McIntyre. And just like no one believes in a Bad Blood feud that Finn Balor or Dominic Mysterio has a chance against Damian Priest. But we're supposed to believe that somehow because WWE thinks we're absolute morons and that they think we're as dumb as the people booking the show. It's actually pretty funny when you think about it. But yeah. This match was mid, but the actual finish of it was pretty cool. Braun Breaker lunges and just spears Jey Uso across the screen. It was actually pretty crazy, the athleticism on this dude. But he spears Jey Uso across the screen because, Jey Uso came out and acted like he was about to help, but then Braun just catches him on the ramp and spears him. And then Rhea Ripley and Damian get beat up to end the show, and that's that. However, this, again, is stupid. WWE is clearly trying to do damage control, like not like the damage control of the WWE, but like, the phrase damage control, because they're trying to control the bad booking that they did and kind of lessen the effects of it. They had Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley come out and embarrass this group of 5 people for like 2 or 3 weeks straight leading to Bash in Berlin. So now all of a sudden, they want to try and convince us that these 5 jobbers are going to beat up Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. Really? It's just not believable. Again, that's the problem with some of this stuff is it's just not believable. Liv Morgan, like, the only time she's able to look dominant over Rhea Ripley is when Rhea Ripley has a knee injury, at least in the storyline. That's stupid. She's the women's world champion, and the only time she gets the upper hand is when her opponent has, like, a broken knee? What? Like, what? That just doesn't make any sense. It's stupid. And the only time Damian gets beat up is it just flip-flops every week. One week he 1v4s them on the ramp and then gets beat up in the ring. The next week he beats them all 4 up and they're running away. The next week he gets beat in the ring. The next week he beats them up and they run away. And the next week Dominic's trying to run away. Same with Finn Balor. It makes no sense. Finn Balor was once a world champion, and all of a sudden now he's running away from Damian Priest, who's been a jobber for like 95% of his career. What? That's just what I'm left saying at some of these segments is just, what? What am I watching? So I just thought this was pretty ridiculous. They clearly know that they booked the New Judgment Day pretty poorly in the early runs, like the first couple weeks, first month or so. So now they're trying to go back on it and make them look strong over Rhea and Damian. But once you see something, you can't unsee it. We saw Rhea and Damian 2v5 this group week after week after week until Rhea hurt her knee in the storyline. So obviously this is just dumb. But yeah, that's how Raw ended. Overall, this episode of Raw was pretty decent. There was more good than bad. So I'd give this episode like a 6.5 because there were still things that were very irritating, but it was more good than bad, all right? It was like a slightly above average show. I'll give it that. It had its good moments, but it also had some things that were either made no sense or were just straight up garbage. So let me know if you watched this episode of Raw and expect a couple videos this week coming out. Let me know what videos you guys want to see in the comment sections, man. If you guys got any ideas for things you want me to post, just go ahead and let me know. I hope you have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And as always, yeet and peace out.